Welcome to Findlay, Ohio. This is my brand new basement bar and my whiskey collection here. Bar just got done about, let's say, a month ago. And this collection here that you're seeing, I've been working on for about 2 years. So made some pretty good progress in a pretty short time, but it's been a really fun, great hobby to get into. And actually the first bottle I'll kind of point to is what really got me into it. I always initially started drinking just, Woodford Double Oaked and Michter's Rye, just good tasting, low proof stuff that I liked. And then I had a neighbor I did some favors for, and he gifted me this bottle of Weller Full Proof. And I looked it up online and saw that it was worth some money. And I've always been a collector of things, baseball cards, Legos, whatever it may be, and that just kicked me off. I went to the next allocation drop here in Ohio, and I went nuts, obviously. So I sat on this bottle for about 1.5 years before I started drinking it, and I never did that again. Now every bottle I get, I think almost every bottle in this bar is open or will be open soon, but now every bottle I get, I take it down here and I open it immediately, so I get over that fear of letting it sit. So that was really the first one that started me, and then everything went nuts. I don't really necessarily have any kind of order of how I've got them, nothing top shelf or low shelf. They're all pretty darn good, but just kind of our standard Old Foresters up top. Then I'll get a little more of the Heaven Hill with my Elijah Craig's and Larceny's. One bottle that I just saw, these little guys are fun. Just got those a couple weeks ago. I've been starting to see these. This is a toasted barrel proof. So these private barrels. Saw this one in Michigan, grabbed this one. I don't think they've been out in Ohio yet, but nice little 124 proof toasted barrel. Really good. Got a couple different Four Roses single barrels, the barrel strengths. Oldest one I have is almost 11 years. So that's a pretty nice bottle to have. These Redwood Empires, I don't know if anyone's had these, but they're great. The cask strengths are just incredible. And this, the Emerald Giant, the rye one, is one of my top 10 bottles, I'd say. It's just, they're easier to find on the shelves these days, and it's just a great bottle. I've gone through about 2 or 3 of these. These Ben Holidays, I know starting to see a lot more of these. This one in particular, Bourbon Lore. I don't know if people know much about Bourbon Lore. It's a whiskey collective, I'll call it, online. And they started with having a really deep, rare whiskey collection, this group of folks. And then they started putting together these really unique travel opportunities, whiskey experiences. If you go to their website, they're like $5,000 to $10,000 a person. So they're not for everybody. They're not for me. But they're really cool things where you have private chefs and all this access to really high-end whiskey, and you do all these crazy things and free concerts and whatnot with it. But then they started partnering with distilleries and producing some blends. So this Ben Holiday, I think came out in March of this year. And this is an 18-barrel blend that they did with Ben Holiday. This is some of the most incredible juice I've ever had. Really good. And actually they just had a second collaboration with Bardstown. This just came out beginning of November, I think. So this is their second Bourbon Lore collaboration, Bardstown. And again, really good bottle, very limited run, maybe 10 barrels on this one, 18 barrels on the Ben Holiday. So if you can find those Bourbon Lore bottles, go for them. Augusta, this distillery, if you haven't tried any of the Augusta stuff, it's so damn good. The Route 8, it's $120 bottle. It's not the cheapest you're gonna find. These Buckner single barrels, also about $150. None of it's cheap, but it's so good, especially the higher proof stuff. And then I am fortunate enough, I did get a Buckner's 13 year here, which is really good. And then a good friend of mine back here behind the camera, over here on this side, has a Buckner 17 year that maybe we'll get to see later on. So that's a really good bottle too. Booker's have the new Reserves and the Little Book, the Infinite. These are all just really fun bottles, though. Booker's tends to keep getting more and more expensive, so we'll see how much longer I keep buying those. Found North, really interesting Canadian whiskey. This is a 19-year, pretty limited. I don't remember what the run was. This is bottle 3,200, so at least that many. Not your Caribou Crossing. Barrel King. A lot of the whiskey I have, I've been picking up online due to watching YouTubers, whiskey YouTubers. Barrel King is Matt Porter from ADHD. He just became their chief taster or whatever the hell it's called. And so I started buying some of their stuff, really good juice. Blackwood, I don't know much about Blackwood, though this was a single barrel done with the Bourbon Junkies. Picked this bottle up, really good. They call it Galactic Blackberry, and man, it tastes like a blackberry Pop-Tart, just like it shows on there. Really crazy. I know you love New Riff. You're always kind of showing going over New Riff. The 8-year offerings, man, that stuff's just great. It's so good, and it's sitting on shelves now, which is wonderful. Picked up this year's winter whiskey, which is a fun little treat. What I wanted to show you down here, get all these other ones out of the way real quick. For those who, again, watch Bourbon Junkies, they started their own distillery or blending operation called Evernorth. They're up in Michigan. You can see how just beautiful some of these labels are from their different bottles, but they do ryes, American whiskeys, bourbons. They've got, I mean, I've got probably 14, 15 different bottles now, but just what they're doing up there is incredible. They're, you know, these guys do nothing but drink whiskey all day. They know what they like. They know what their viewers like. So they put together some really cool blends, really interesting flavor profiles, and good prices, like 60, 70 bucks, I think, for the most part. So something that anyone can really get into if you can find some of it. So I'd recommend it. They actually just did a limited release, and they did a release party. This is called Arctic Spirit. So this is their first limited edition bottle that they did. And I have one autographed somewhere over there from those guys. So really cool facility if you ever get a chance to get up in Michigan and take a look at that. These are kind of fun. The short barrel Bee's Knees. If you haven't seen those, they're finished in double barrel toasted straight bourbon whiskey finished in honey casks. So there's a bourbon and a rye I just got here recently. Really good stuff. I'm gonna say that a lot, really good stuff, because everything up here is really good except for one bottle, which I'll break out near the end. Something that I would pour down.
Hooters whiskey or something?
What's that?
Hooters whiskey?
Yeah, it's George C. Stagg. No one likes that. No, I'm kidding. I got my Colonel Taylor box over here. These are my backup barrel proof bottles. I have one over here as well. Been fortunate to find a few of those during my time collecting. So a Master Keep I was able to buy. Actually, I bought that partially drank. There's a good price on it, and I wanted the bottle just because it was a good release. Then you kind of get into my Tater bottles, all the Buffalo Trace stuff, a couple of the Blanton's offerings, the Elmer T, Rock Hill Farms, my Colonel Taylor lineups. I've got a couple Stags now, different releases. My two that I finally opened, my Thomas Handy and my George T. Stagg, which I was able to get this guy at MSRP through a lottery last year. This one I paid a little more on. And then the Russells, man, the Russells 15. Boy, this is a hell of a bottle. Really good stuff. It's a little pricey. I paid secondary on this one, so that one hurt a little bit, but it was worth the money for sure. Then back up to just the Wellers in general, which is, you know, pretty standard fare at a bar.
Russell 15, I think that's whiskey of the year for Breaking Bourbon.
Yeah, so far it's, again, all the whiskey YouTubers seem to love it, and most of them have been pretty accurate with their likes. I did finally get this was a half-drank bottle of, this is the first single Rickhouse release they had. So this is the Camp Nelson C. I just got this one, this week. So it was mostly drank. I've had a couple pours out of it, but I got a pretty good price on it. So someone was trying to thin out their collection, and figured I'd take a stab at it. Now this is where it gets a little ridiculous. My Bardstown collection is a little over the top. I've probably got almost 20 different Bardstown bottles. This is really when I started to get into collecting. I knew I liked Bardstown, so I started going out and get a lot of their different collaborations. So up here I've got, you know, various collabs. The discos are all been really good, and they just keep getting better and better and better. Again, that Bourbon Lore one, and then any single barrels, any of the single barrels that Bardstown does. I got a few more over here. I've got 3 different ryes and 5 different of the white labels of their Origin series. They're just some of the best whiskey you're gonna drink. So And then I got even more Bardstown all in here. So everyone seems to like it when I give them pours. So I keep the shelf pretty stocked. Moving down here, I've got my Knob Creeks. Just finally got a Knob 15. I've been waiting to get one of these and only had a couple pours. Really liked it. The 12, it's hard to beat the 12, of course, but and those are starting to be a little easier to find here in Ohio. Those used to be real hard to come by. Two that I really wanted to highlight, and again, these are from whiskey YouTubers that I found them. This Boulder Spirits cask strength. These are out of Colorado, obviously, and I think you can find these cask strength bottles online periodically. They'll sell them online. They'll sell out, but you got to go get them. This is incredible. I think this is the 3rd volume of it. I'm not sure. 2nd or 3rd time they've released this. I might be lying about that. But really good bottle. And then this Limestone Farms. I think I saw you pick one of these up off a shelf in one of your last videos just to look at it at least. This is the, what do they call it? Oh, private stock. A little more expensive bottle. But you can buy these online on their shop. They're on shelves apparently too. Really good stuff. I think this is a pretty new distillery. I think they're building a huge campus, as I understand. This is all source stuff right now, but they're trying to distill their own juice and make their own. So keep an eye out if you got the bucks. This is a really great pour for sure. Another fun one, 13th Colony. This is a pick from the SLB Bourbon Basement guys on YouTube. There's their little sticker, but this is a 140 proof rye that is just, it knocks your socks off. It honestly doesn't drink as hot as you'd expect for 140 proof, but it's a heck of a bottle. It's getting a little low. I wish I could have got another one. Then we get into these barrels. I really like what Barrell's doing. They do have some misses, but this guy is the one of their seagrass. I don't like their seagrass normally, but this is their cask strength version of it, 134 proof. This one is pretty solid stuff. A little more expensive, but. And then these, I'll pull one of them up. River Roots. This is a distillery out of Cleveland, Ohio. The blending operation. It's all sourced, I think. Drums and Drams YouTube channel. I think every single one of these are picks that he did. So they do blending. You can go there. You can design your own label. This was released right around Thanksgiving, so he did all these different turkey labels on them. This was his limited edition that he dropped this year from Drums and Drams. He did Opus 1, and then he actually did a second barrel, Opus 1 Lakota. So this is 10-year double oak bourbon, and then he has a couple ryes back here that we got, and then he had another rye that just came in yesterday. This is 110 proof. Straight rye. Then we get down here, you might recognize this bottle, Bourbon Chronicles release. This is actually how I met Tim, going through this release, and feel very proud to have my name and initial on there.
Yeah, put that on the blinds. Been winning a lot of blinds lately. So.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's so good. I've only had a pour or two out of this one, but I've had so many more. I've probably got 5 more of those rye bottles. They're just great. So I got various Jacks, the Jack 10 and 12. Here's the bottle that I said is not very good. Maybe this is a hot take, I don't know. Willet 4-year rye, the green top.
Yep, that's one of my least favorite ryes as well. Tastes like chemical to me, like bleach or something.
I don't know what it tastes like. I don't want to say it on video what I think it tastes like, but it tastes bad. So now I just keep it just to say, hey, what does this taste like? And usually everyone's like, oh my God, it's awful. I found one guy who liked it, but that's the only reason I keep it, just to see people's responses. I think it's fun.
I say I love rye, but it's always with an asterisk, because there's some ryes that are so like rye forward.
So rye, yeah.
It tastes like Clorox to me or something, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Or bleach or something.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever tried Rye 3. Mm-hmm. This is the cigar blend of it. Wow, this is a fantastic bottle. Something that's really special. If you can ever get this, I would definitely pick up a bottle of this. $120 maybe, something like that, but it's worth every penny. Really solid stuff. And then I got some just generic Penelope stuff back here. Love it or hate it, it is what it is. Middle West Spirits lineup back here. They're out of Columbus, Ohio. They're doing some really good finished bottles. These are the ones that are in the tubes here. really great stuff. And then they just released these cask strength versions of their normal releases, and they're incredible. This is the ported pump or dark pumpernickel rye. I mean, the color on it is just incredible for a shelf bottle. You go to the stores here in Ohio, most of them have them sitting there right now, and they're $60. Some of the best new whiskey that I've drank this year. Oh yeah, the Widow Jane Decadence. Yep.
Yeah. Any words on that?
I've drank enough of it. It's good. It's like a maple syrup. It's finished in maple syrup barrel, so yeah, it's very sweet. It is very good. You can try a pour of it if you'd like. I've got a backup bottle, so I've got plenty to go around. I've got a lot of backup bottles.
Definitely a dessert bourbon.
Yeah, oh yeah, dessert bourbon all the way. This is a bottle I just got yesterday. This is a pick, again, another store pick, or a YouTube whiskey guy pick. Crittenden's single barrel bourbon. So I just popped it today. Haven't taken a pour of it, but looks interesting. And then I got just shelves of some of the more standard stuff. I've got a whole lineup of different ECBPs and the Larceny barrel proofs, more of my Bardstown, some of the more kind of unique things. The rest of my Bookers. I got another Augusta hidden back there, a couple bottles of Blue Run, some of the Maker's Mark bottles, more Ben Holidays and Henry McKenna, some other 10-year stuff up there. So yeah, it all kind of got out of hand very quick once I started collecting. And again, it's nice to have the bar here finally to be able to display it and give it, what it's due.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
Yeah, they did a really nice job. Wasn't cheap, but nothing is. I do, if you take a step back, I can kind of show you my backups. So these are my drawers for things that don't fit on the shelves, or just my duplicates, which I have several. You find a good bottle of whiskey, you want to get a couple so you can have it in a few years. I load them into there. Hopefully those brackets don't break on the otherwise I got my big boys, my bulk Buffalo and Weller. Always good to have these for mixing drinks and whatnot. Let me grab these down real quick. So I got to remember, Four Roses is one of my favorites. These single barrel strengths are all really good.
Mine too, yeah.
So Mike over here was, you were down in Covington, right? And you picked this up at one of the hotels there. This is a 6th floor.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's only a 8-year, 9-month, but it's 125-ish proof, which is one of the higher proofs I've seen on these. A lot of the other ones I have are, in the teens, 1-teens and whatnot. But, the recipe, I can't even tell you. The OE, like this OESV I really like. But yeah, I've never had a bad one of these, so it's hard to turn them down when they show up. I mean, just like the Russells, these, you can't have a bad Russell's pick. Especially this, again, Camp Nelson ones this is by far the best Russell store pick I've had. It's not quite Russell's 13 or Russell's 15, but it's a really great pour for the price, for sure. And the other ones I'll call out, Green River, man, in Owensboro, Kentucky. If you can find, their base offerings are really good, especially the new foolproof. But these store picks here, any of these picks, especially the picks this year, the first year they kept them under 120 proof, as I understood. This year they're letting it fly on proof. So this is 132 proof. Green River pick, and man, this thing is just so good. It's so good. I can't get enough of these bottles. They do really nice work. I guess one unique bottle I have, this is just a decanter. This is equal parts double oaked, Woodford double oaked, Old Forester 1910, and Jack Daniel's single barrel strength, just the whiskey. It's so good because you get like the banana flavor out of the 1910, you get the maple out of the Woodford, and then you get the proof and some of the Jack Daniel's flavors, and it just mixed together. It's just a really elevated, like a dessert whiskey almost. So someone had thrown that idea at me and I had made that. And then this is just back here, just an infinity bottle. So I filled this over the first year, and I don't even know what the hell's in it anymore, but it's surprisingly good. It's shocking how good a mix of just random stuff can be. So if you have an empty bottle laying around, you get to the heel of your bottles, just pour it in an infinity bottle and see what happens. It's fun just to play around with it and try new things. So,
Do you have any advice for like somebody new just starting out that maybe has like a limited amount of money?
yeah, don't chase all of this stuff. It's just not worth it. Buy Bardstown white label. It's like a $40 bottle, $45 bottle. It's so freaking good. There's so much good whiskey that it's, you don't have to go drop $300 on BTAC or whatever it is. Now that stuff's incredible and it's way better than that, but I'm telling you, if you're just getting into it, you don't need to be going for the crazy stuff. You also don't need to be worrying about Blanton's. Blanton's is fine. Blanton's is okay. Get a bottle, have it on your shelf. It's cool to have. The Horsey's pretty, but really, you don't need to find all this stuff. I have it. It's fun to display. Most of this bottle, friends come over and they say, hey, can I try Blanton's? I'm like, absolutely. Have a pour, whatever you want. Have Stag. It's fun. It's fun to share. That's the best part of this whole thing, is meeting guys like you and my buddy Mike over here and everyone else that has come into my life due to whiskey, which is a weird thing to say. But yeah, it's great people, great community. It's a fun hobby as long as you're responsible. Let's make sure we get that in there because that's absolutely true. I'm getting too old to not be responsible anymore. My pours are very, very small. But I take several of them. But yeah, try new things. Like for instance, those Evernorth bottles that I talked about earlier. It's unique stuff. It's stuff that this small little blending company's doing, and they're just making really cool stuff. So try things that are kind of weird, and you never know what you're gonna like. Don't just buy the same bottle over and over and over because there's so much good stuff out there. Give something new a try every once in a while. I mentioned I'm a collector. Well, this is another one of my family's passions. Some of these sets are my kids, some are mine. A lot of the buildings my wife has built, but yeah, we like Lego here in this household, and we've this is all kind of custom built stuff. I put a lot of time into this. I don't know, it started around COVID time when you're locked inside and nothing else to do. It's just kind of mind numbing, just mindless doing stuff. So it's fun to grab a whiskey and just build some Lego sets. And it's, again, much like my whiskey collection, things got out of control a little bit pretty quickly. This has slowed since whiskey has taken over a little bit more, but yeah, we've got quite a collection here. So it's
you have so much, you can even shoot like a stop motion like movie here.
That sounds like a lot of work. You're the content creator. I'll let you do that. But the good thing about Lego, we get tired of this. We can package them up, save them for the kids or grandkids one day, or sell them or whatever. So I look at this as it's well worth the money and the time. I made a little whiskey table of me. I guess that's a bottle of Jack. So that's what I'll call. That's what I'll tell my wife. I'm just passionate.
Yeah.